This is very disturbing. Are you serious? This is an urgent report. Very, very disturbing, guys. I'm telling you that right now. Very disturbing, and we've got to take this as serious as it gets, because we are in a very dangerous situation now. Are you serious, guys? Well, I am, and wow. Anytime one of the big three, United States, Russia, or China, pulls out a nuclear missile with a nuclear payload on it and readies it in a silo, the whole world knows. I mean, you have to understand, military, they all know what each other's doing, okay? And this is not good. Of course, obviously, if they're doing that, we're ready. And we don't know what all capabilities each other have exactly, although you have a lot of spies running around. But this is a dangerous time. Let me put a shout out right now for www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. You can hit your weight management goals faster with number one, Keto supplement at www.ketowithpaul.com. If your New Year's resolution is to improve your health like 48% of other Americans are going to do this year, there's something that you need to do about it. Not just make a list and say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. You got to actually do it. I know this whole past year, I've been working on weight loss. And I've lost 30 pounds, and it's taken me 8 months. Now, that's not real fast loss of weight, but it is consistent, and I've been able to maintain it and feel good about it. The keto diet is amazing, but it's tough to do. I tried that, man. It just the type of food you got to eat and the combinations, just, it don't cut it for a country boy like me. So how about if I get the ingredients of it in a powder form? Support your weight management goals with this amazing keto powder. This supplement helps with attaining and maintaining, that's key, a healthy body weight by helping elevate your body's levels of ketones, which can aid with appetite management, and that's true, metabolism, and your overall energy levels. Tens of thousands of Americans have turned to this method to help manage their weight. So what do you have to do to lose? What do you got to lose? You got everything to gain. What do you got to lose? Weight. What do you got to gain? Your health. Get a bag of this. Save 51% off the price by going to my custom link, www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. And be glad that you did. You will be. It takes discipline. It takes focus. It is not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is. But I am going to tell you it can be done. Wow. Anyway, let's get cut to the chase. Let's get to it, guys. There's a lot on our plate right now. We really do have to discuss. And this situation with Putin, Vladimir Putin, yeah, he is... Behind me, you're looking at a major missile that could be put a payload of nuclear detonation possibility there. But I'm just saying that they're really moving in position. Putin readies. He readies nuke missiles for a launch as Yar's rocket, able to strike the United Kingdom and the U.S., is locked and loaded in a silo near Moscow. Now, Vladimir Putin has, and you guys know that that's Satan II. That's what the SARS missile is. It's the Satan II. Vladimir Putin has renewed his nuke threat against the West by appearing to ready nuclear missiles for launch. And that's never good, okay? It's never good. But footage has shown that a huge Russian Yars rocket able to hit the United Kingdom or the United States is being loaded into a silo at a base near Moscow. It has already been loaded. There's footage of them actually doing it, okay? Here is actually some of the pictures there. You see there was actually loading it into and that's the Yars 2, this Satan 2. That's what we already knew. He tested that a few months ago, a couple times. And that rocket will reach the United States. It will also reach the United Kingdom. So, and it's filled with a nuclear payload of 15 different precision striking nuclear bomb warheads that will just spray out in 15 different directions and precisionally hit spots. In other words, Vladimir Putin could fire this Satan II rocket toward the United States, and then it would split off into 15 individual nuclear missiles that would then could hit 15 different cities if he wants to do that. And it would happen at an incredible speed. Now, the intercontinental ballistic missile has 7,500-mile range, and when nuclear armed is reportedly 12 times more destructive than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. You heard me, 12 times more destructive than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It was seen in the Russian propaganda being installed in a launch pad using a special transport and loaded unit, but there's no indication of any order from Putin for an imminent launch. No, but he's using the threat. Putin was seen in late October overseeing the launch of similar Yars nuclear missiles on a mock attack on the West amid high tension in the war with Ukraine. In the drills, Russia reportedly practiced its response to nuclear attack, and we're aiming those at UK targets and United States targets. Fears have been raised that the 70-year-old tyrant could detonate a nuke as his forces face mounting losses in the disastrous Ukraine war. Russia is building up to more nuclear showboating as it marks the annual Strategic Missile Forces Day, to be held on December 17th. Missile Force Commander Colonel Alexei Sovolov made clear that the latest exercise was aimed at sending a message to the West, but with both the UK and the US within its range. The importance of this operation lies in the fact that the missile will be put on combat duty on the schedule. The homeland will get another nuclear missile weapon, which will make it possible to solve any task at the strategic level. Combat engineer Vadim Volosky told Russian TV that the Russian Defense Ministry's own channel, "I feel proud of Russia, that my country's putting such products into service so that the motherland can sleep well." The Kozelik missile base is currently undergoing modernization and revamping, according to reports. And the Yars Satan II missile is a modification of the Topol-M missile system and was the first deployed back in 2009. Now, video release during October's drill showed the armed forces personnel in front of computers launching one of the missiles. Other footage showed a Saniva intercontinental ballistic missile being fired from a submarine in the Barents Sea. Also, it showed a Tu-95 bomber that launched cruise missiles, also capable of nuclear payload. So the Kremlin said that all tasks set for the exercise were fulfilled and that all the missiles that were test fired reached their designated targets. In other words, with precision. So as these nuclear weapons are being transported and moved into different locations, these guys that are working on the drills, all of this is part of the Russian propaganda machine showing the people of Russia. They ran this on Russian state TV. All of this was to show the people in Russia what this man is doing, and that he is fully in charge, although he sits always in a table by himself because he's afraid he'll be assassinated, either by poison or some other means. You always see him alone anymore. It's quite interesting how this is all coming about. Now, let me just say that Putin has repeatedly threatened to use nuclear weapons in this conflict with Ukraine. And he has threatened that if the West intervene, he will use it on us. And he doesn't say this once or twice, but this is a repetitive conversation. He wants to be sure everyone knows that he gave plenty of warning to the West that he is willing to do this. He also wants everyone to know that the West has done it before. And he always brings up Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the World War II and of course what Harry Truman did to end the conflict and the battle with Japan and actually end World War II. He wants everyone to know that, look, I'm not the first guy to do this. It's been done before, and I'll do it also. And if you push me, you don't test me, because I'm telling you I will. And he's repeatedly said it, which leads me to believe that that isn't his main goal or aim. But I don't think he is bluffing. I do think if push comes to shove and he looks like that he becomes this caged animal or losing in this conflict of what he's trying to do, that he is not beyond using it. I've been saying, and I am probably going to be wrong, that's all right, I'll admit it, but I've been saying that Putin is probably going to use a nuke in the next few months. A small tactical nuke, and I believe he'll use it on a city in Ukraine. Maybe it's Kiev, I don't know. But at some point, Putin is getting tired of his military being really taking so many major casualties. He can only draft his population so many times. He can only keep preaching that he's going to win this so many times. At some point, he has to bring Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to his knees. Now, Putin's war strategy has been quite obvious. It's been a war of attrition, and it's a war against the citizens of Ukraine. He really doesn't want to fight the Ukrainian military. He has to because they're in the way. But his goal and his aim and his strategic targets have been the infrastructure of Ukraine. It's been their steel plants. It's been their infrastructure, their power plants, their coal plants, of course, and anything that makes their energy. He's shut off the pipelines to Europe, which is also part of his strategic plan against the citizens. He has bombed residential locations, hospitals, clinics, apartment complexes, more than he's bombed military installations. So his war is with the civilian populace. He has driven over 5 million of the Ukrainian people out of their country, fleeing in fear. So his strategy is, that part of his strategy is working. The question is, what he's frustrated is he can't believe that the Ukrainian people haven't demanded that their leader, Zelensky, surrender. He can't believe they haven't already cried for surrender and to go ahead and succumb and surrender to the Russian regime and become a part of Russia. So he can't believe it. Really, he can't believe it. So he's thinking, all right, of everything I've been doing, if these people still don't get it, the fear of God is still not in them, maybe I need to do a tactical nuke. And I'm going to blame it on the West that I had to do this. And that's what he's saying. Listen to what I'm telling you. Remember when everybody was running around a few months ago? He's doing great. He's bombing U.S. labs. He probably did bomb a few U.S. labs. We probably bombed a few Russian labs. And then, of course, somebody should be bombing the Chinese labs because they're the guys that turned the pandemic loose on us. Every major world nation has bioweapon labs. Okay? Every one of them do. So let's get real. Let's get real. Now, everybody ran around doing that, saying, he's a good guy, he's a good guy. But I noticed those guys have all gotten quiet lately. All those people running around with those, it's just like I've seen over the 13 years I've been doing this. I see these crazy theories that pop up that people run with for a while, and then like flat Earth or you know, the Mandela effect. All the Bibles are changing instantly. They're no longer, you know, the King James Version Bible's changing instantly. Every written book everywhere is changing. And you know, and everybody copies that, and everybody runs around and everybody's around. Did you hear? Did you hear? And these crazy theories like that, they just fade away because they're foolish. Good thing for me, as I memorized so much of the Bible, that when I heard these crazy things, I'm thinking, I know the scripture. Let me go look at it. Yeah, it's still there. Let me read this one. Yeah, it's there. Matter of fact, let me go get of the 50 Bibles I have, let me go compare if I can find any of them that doesn't have that verse right. You know, so what I'm saying is, don't believe the craziness. You can't believe everything you hear. You can have different opinions of why people do whatever they do. And I agree. Putin hates this moral in America. He hates this immorality that's going on in this nation of America. He hates that stuff. I can't say what that is because, you know, I'm in this open forum here. I can only say it over there in my webinars and stuff. But he hates what we're doing over here. He hates these immoral agendas of America and the West. He hates it. No, I don't blame him. It's absolutely against God. But he uses that as part of his propaganda. Because he still has his agenda. And that is to bring the West to its knees. And to do it by force. Remember, he's a KGB agent. The eyes of Putin have never changed. And you can say, well, we got to get rid of him. Don't be so quick about that. The next guy is probably 10 times stronger than Putin. Believe me, it's just like the Chinese. You can get rid of President Xi if you want to, but probably the next 5 waiting in line are more brutal than Xi. Communist and totalitarian mentality, including radical Islam, is brutal and will use brutal tactics no matter what. So remember that. Now in America, we got hypocrisy. We deal with liars, immoral leaders, corrupt to the core, and under the smoke and mirrors of democracy. So we have our own set of problems. So I'm not throwing stones. I know what's going on here. What I am saying is all of these things combined, whether it's the West or whether it's Putin or whether it's the Chinese or whether it's radical Islam in the Middle East and in Africa and everywhere else as it's growing, or whether it's our corruption at our southern border, all of these things are fulfillment of biblical prophecy. When Jesus said there will be wars and rumors of wars, see that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. The end is not yet. For nations will rise against nations, and these kingdoms will rise against kingdoms. Yeah, there's going to be disastrous times coming. Times like we've never seen before. And there will be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars. There will be distress of nations with perplexity. There will be all kinds of apocalyptic events that will be taking place. And all of this has been set in motion. God's in control. We're going to see technological advancements and all kinds of deception. But in the end, Christ is coming. And he's coming. And he will pour out his wrath upon the earth. And you don't want to be here when that happens. You want to be saved and prepared to leave this world in that glorious cloud with Jesus Christ. I'll be right back after this.
God, I'm so scared for this crooked generation. Will you even find faith in the earth when you bring down revelation? Forgive us now the sins of our youth, worshiping the idols that knew everything but the truth. Teach us how to uncorrupt our minds. Show us now while we still have the time. We need you, Yeshua. Holy, holy, hallelujah. We need you, Yeshua.
Everybody pray for Jennifer Hall.
Holy, holy, hallelujah. We abandon everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the street.
How much will we see before the fire falls? Lord, could this really be the last altar call? We need your blood over the doorposts of our hearts. Anoint us with your fiery love as the praise and worship starts. We need you, Yeshua. Holy, holy, hallelujah.
We need you,
Yeshua. Holy, holy, hallelujah.
We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the streets. Oh, we abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the streets.
That's why you need to give your life to the Lord, folks, because Jesus is coming back. Praise his holy name.
We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the street. We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the street.
This is why people need to give their life to Jesus Christ. Naughton? I do know better. I think if you would have listened to the full dialogue, and I guess if you probably are new to our channel, that's the first time I've seen your name. You say Putin, you should know better that also Biden is also involved in the whole thing, the New World Order agenda. Stephen, you're obviously new to my channel, because those of the folks that have been here and been with me the last 13 years or 5 years or whatever, especially since Biden got in office, I have repeatedly said that, Stephen, just so you'll know. I know that Biden and many others, American leaders, are involved in the New World Order. Okay, I'm not picking sides between Putin and the global elitist, because the global elitists are definitely wanting to form and are working feverishly on every angle to create a new world order. You're exactly right. Putin's trying to create his own new world order. And so is President Xi in China. And if Putin has to, him and Xi will work together if that's what it takes to knock out the global elitists from the West. But in the end, they'll turn on each other. Because at the end of the day, the Chinese are like parasites. The Chinese government, not the Chinese people, because they're wonderful people, but the Chinese government is like a parasite. It devours everything in its path. It's loyal to no one, okay? And its ultimate goal is to be the leader of the whole world. It really wants that. Putin really doesn't say he wants to be the leader of the whole world. He just wants to restore Mother Russia. He believes he's almost the reincarnation of Peter the Great. And he believes that for his people and for his way of life, the West must be defeated. And so thus, this is his ultimate goal. He would like to rule the world if he could, or at least his ideology, because he thinks it's a better way than we are. And he is right on a lot of parts. The morality there is much better than America. I'm being really honest. The morality there is much more better than the American morality. And then there is the West. The West believes in, or supposed to believe in, republics and democracies. And people have freedom. And we've been living with that for at least the last 100 years. I mean, America has been around 250 years, and it took us a long time to finally get over slavery and racism in this country. And so we have been living a free society for a long time. But let's be honest. We have fallen so far from God as a country right now. We've never been this immoral. And we have among us, not me, not you, but we have global elitists in Washington and all across this country, not just politicians either. They're just the puppets, the puppet masters, the families that really rule the world. They are working in conjunction with people like George Soros and others, which are all part of a cabal of global elitists who want to create a new world order. So the new world order is fighting Putin. Putin is fighting the globalist. The Chinese is fighting the globalist. And ultimately, these three factions would like to rule the world alone, not with each other. And then, don't forget, there's a fourth party, and that's the radical Islamists, who believe their way is the best way for the world. And they hate the West, they hate the Russians, and they hate the Chinese. They do. They hate, because they call us all infidels. They certainly hate the Jews. And matter of fact, you'll notice the Jews are hated by the Chinese Communist Party. They're hated by by Putin and the Russians, and they're hated by the global elitist. You hear it every day, anti-Semitic. Basically, it's the Israelis. This little tiny country, the navel of the world, is hated by the whole world. It's got a few allies over here in America, a few maybe over in Great Britain, and a few scattered here and there. But overall, they know. So this is the real story. You can't pick one of these and say this is the righteous one. There isn't any among them. There's 4 different factions fighting to be the king of the world. And they're all working for the same entity, whether it's communism. Remember, Brazil. You don't want to miss tonight at ffctv.info. Our guest tonight is a man from Brazil, a businessman from Brazil, who just watched his country get rid of their president, Bolsonaro, who believed in democracy truly and a republic. He just got run out, and the new president took over is a communist hardliner and wants to turn Brazil into a communist country. The new leader of Colombia is a communist, wanting to do the same thing to Colombia. Hugo Chavez, when he first took over Venezuela, he turned the most prosperous, richest nation in all of South America, Venezuela, into a cesspool of poverty and crime because he turned it into a communist society. So we see what's happening in these last days. We're watching the confusion of the wars and the rumors of wars. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. So give your life to Jesus Christ. We're living in the last days. God bless.